Here we're really trying to create a community of entrepreneurs. And physically, we hope to create one of the biggest hubs for entrepreneurs on the continent. What that means is you have several innovations, harboring and spurring from here. And we hope that at some point, these are going to be at a global stage, making headlines. So every year, it's been customary to us to celebrate Women's Day, to mark what International Women's Day is. It's a day really for us to reflect on the accomplishments of women on several topics, be it social, politically, culturally, but more specific to us when it comes to economic growth. And that ties into entrepreneurship. So here we shed light on women entrepreneurs or women leaders in their respective industries. And today we want to mark this by having several conversations as we've done last year. And the hope today is to shed light on the Women in Business initiative that we've been running for the last couple of months. The idea is to create a community of entrepreneurs. And the reason we're focusing on women is so that we can level the field. There's plenty of research out there that shows that there's a gap when it comes to women in business, specifically when it comes to tech entrepreneurs. There's a huge gap when it comes to women leading tech ventures. The hope and the aim and the goal is really to level the field, build them up, give them the resources that they need, the capital to a certain extent, so that they can run successful, profitable businesses, and equip them with, give them the network that they need, share mentors. The way it was set up is we put out a call for applications for about 20 women to be part of this program. And it's in early stages. It's a 10 months learning program, and we hope that by August we can show that when these women were coming in, they were at a certain level, and at the end they achieved now a higher level, and that they can show to the world what their businesses are.
Women Business, it's a program which has more than 20 women's founders and co-founders. Those are the women who decided to create their own companies and also all their own social enterprise and bring the impact into society.
Our distinguished guests, our learners, who are also our guests of honor today, we're really delighted to have you here. So in today's event, the theme is to embrace equity. But what does actually equity mean? What does that look like and what does that feel like? And how is equity different from equality? And I think this was really important by one of the ladies, Brenda, I think, who mentioned this.
So we're launching this one platform called Passport to Earning. It's going to be launched in the next couple of months. And young people will have access, especially young women, to a whole range of courses that they can follow to help them in their career journey. So those are some of the things that we've been working on at UNICEF, but we're really keen on learning from what the government of Rwanda is doing. How can we align ourselves to the objectives and move together?
For me, I have a philosophy that if we're all born, we can breathe, we can walk the same, we can shed the same blood. However much we have different roles as far as genders are concerned, I think up here we're all the same, yeah? So it depends on how you're working on yourself, the mechanisms that you put in place yourself. I think first of all is to be your authentic self. I think that has helped.
So when it comes to mentorship, this is something that we need to encourage each other to develop. Not necessarily the entitlement, but the self-advocacy is something that we need to learn more about. And I see a lot of women around me who have that skill, who have that capacity, and I try to gain inspiration from that. I'm ashamed to say that I do not have mentors in the traditional sense of the term, but I find my mentors around me, among my friends, my colleagues, my bosses, I'm very lucky to be surrounded by a lot of powerful women, and I learn from them in that sense. But I do believe that it's necessary when you have the opportunity to take advantage of the assistance and the support that you can receive from fellow women, also by networking with them through different opportunities that are available to us, including social networks such as LinkedIn, just to look at what people are doing, how are they doing it. If I want to do things the way you do them, how can I learn from you?
Part into making sure that the vision and the mission of the schools were achieved. And then if we talk about the future, if we talk about technology, there is no technology that is excluding a certain part in the community. And we have seen how much women and girls are contributing into this sector.
Thank you for inviting me. I listened about the gap that you spoke about, and I am lucky to have mentees, about 9, and from them I learned so much, right? One of the things I learned is that when they leave school, and they are very good, but they go back to village, and they are lost. So I suggest that we can, and then the women, the girls are even the most vulnerable. So what I suggested is to equip the 2,000 students around the country who graduate the best, like all A's and 73 or 60 today, equip them with a computer and a router and an internet for a year. I made my calculations, it's $120,000. That's all. With these computers and router, they will connect to the world. Of course, they might get an invitation to UR, but they might do much more than that. They can apply, they can go around the world, they can reach you, they can reach anyone. Otherwise, fortunately, many of them, including the Coding Academy, will be lost. Fetching water, helping parents, and that's it. So that's now if it's impossible to equip with the computer because of situation in the village, because it's not safe or whatever, then the alternative is to get a place in village, in sector, in any place that is close, and to have some government building or some sector building or a class and put the computers there. Thank you.
My name is Shweta and I come from a tech industry, and my question comes from a bit of a personal experience. Like Stella mentioned, the journeys for women are definitely harder, and one of the things that makes it harder is becoming a mother. And with us being in a tech industry, we've got to make sure that we are upgrading ourselves as technology keeps changing. Just based on my personal experience, going back after maternity was quite intimidating. I felt like the whole world had changed. I couldn't remember faces of people that I'd worked with, let alone, upgrading myself. So do you think that the tech industry is doing enough in general across the world to help women come back, return to work, returning from maternity? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
So now let me recognize all the partners that are here. Your Excellency, Ambassador of State of Israel to Rwanda, many, many good partners in the development of this country, Education First, MasterCard Foundation, many others. I see private sector, Pink Mango. I know you have other brands now, Bank of Kigali, many others. I see one of the top women golfers in the country as well, who's also a private sector person here. So it's quite diverse of people that I see in the room. But let me say that it's a real pleasure for me to be part of this really important event that aims to integrate innovation and technology in gender equality, and I think that's the theme for International Women's Day today. And so I really want, in a very special way, to thank Education First and the various stakeholders for this wonderful platform. I think it's really important. As you all know, Rwanda has always been a champion of gender equality, and Rwanda has consistently acknowledged the role of technology to achieve socio-economic development, especially in marginalized groups. The idea of a digital revolution without gender inclusivity is unattainable. This is why the government has committed to putting gender at the forefront of discussions and policies in technology as well. But this starts firstly with representation, having women represented. As you know, our government, led by His Excellency the President, Paul Kagame, there has been a deliberate strategy to ensure women's representation in all levels of leadership, whether it's parliament, whether it's government, or even board membership across both the public sector and the private sector. And this is why today we're proud to say that when it comes to gender parity, Rwanda ranks among the best in the world because it has been a deliberate policy. But I must say it's not just in government. We've seen that this deliberate policy is becoming a deliberate one as well for the private sector. And I must point out the banking sector because Diane is here. Diane is a woman leader of the biggest bank in Rwanda. But what is interesting is that for a long time, we saw Diane as the only woman leading a bank in Rwanda. Today, there's 6 women that are CEOs of banks in Rwanda. That's about 40%, so that's a good, we're close to 50. I hope we'll get one more so we can get to 50%. But maybe if you use the numbers of clientele and maybe balance sheets, maybe we're more than 50%. But apart from representation, I think the second important point that I want to also really emphasize is that we've made significant investments in ensuring that women are not left behind with respect to acquiring much needed technical skills. As you know, we've partnered with unattracted world-class educational institutions such as the Carnegie Mellon University, the AIMS that you all know, and they have about 30% female representation among students that are actually acquiring these technical skills. And we also know that we have a new coding academy, it's called the Rwanda Coding Academy, that we also know they prioritize gender parity in those earlier levels of education when they admit students. And the idea for this is to really build a pipeline of women that are competitive in STEM skills as well.
And I remember reading one book from Sheryl Sandberg where she said, the most important career choice you make is the partner you select. So it's important to have the right person who will support you. Otherwise, if you're not happy at home, it's going to be very difficult to make impact at work.
But in reality, you need to know what your strengths are and you play to your strengths. Then I think the women empowerment opportunities that we have here can really be tapped into, and remember to lift other women.
Because I'm a medical doctor, I didn't know or anything else, and I was not trained to be a politician. But I learned a lot when I arrived there. I approached the people I found there and the colleagues, and I asked in this, what should I do? How could I do it? And progressively, I was used to it, and I think I did a good job at that time.
You always have to look at 4 pillars. Me, I always look at my 4 pillars, and my professional pillar is only one of them. But to have a work-life balance, I must always make sure that all the other pillars are balanced, you know, so that would be my family, my social life, so my professional life, my family, my social life, and me as a woman, as an individual. So that's what I will recommend. Make sure that your professional life doesn't define you. Being a woman doesn't define you. Being a mother doesn't define you. Being a sister, a mother doesn't define you. So it's very important that that's where you find the balance.
Thank you. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Embrace Equity. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and are allocated the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Today we heard from women with diverse backgrounds and circumstances.